and since then it's been all Sebastian. The last two races at Long Beach and Houston, Sebastian Bourdais was nowhere to be seen. He was out in front, long gone to the races and winning both of those, and Will Power was relatively at least struggling to keep that pace.
He was a bit docile there, but either way, he's doing a great job now tracking down Robert Doornbos, and Sebastian closed up a little bit that lap, and I think he was thinking about a move into one, didn't quite do it. Figures he's trying to stay behind him. Really set up the pass, because you got to make sure you got to time it right here at Portland, because opportunities are rare. So if you get a good run, you got to make sure you're on it at the right time.
Yes, indeed. There's a good there. Just down to the pit lane, Michel Bourdais is with Keith Wiggins, the owner or the co-owner of the Minardi Team USA organization. For this man, Robert Doornbos, running in second place in the early stages.
Team owner Keith Wiggins. Keith, you guys have had a tremendous amount of success this year so far. What do you attribute to that?
Well, I think the team's been fairly competitive since we began, and each year, if you look, apart from 2005 when we had a bit of a glitch, you know, we've progressed every year. And last year was our best year so far, and then this year it's just building on it, consistency. All the crew are the same. We have very good engineers, so it's just the next step. And obviously we've got two very good drivers again this year, so that's just, you know, made that last gelling of all the pieces.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks, Michel Bourdais down in the pit lane there with Keith Wiggins, and yeah, he's put together a great organisation, has Keith Wiggins. It's good to see Paul Stoddard involved as well. The OzJet car. Can't get myself right. I've been too long in North America, haven't I? But Robert Doornbos, he has been stunning this season, absolutely superb. But he's now a full 9 seconds behind Justin Wilson after just 12 laps of racing. As you can see, Robert Doornbos is on the red sidewall tyres, the harder tyres that Bridgestone has brought this weekend, as is Sebastian Bourdais. But did you get a glance of that third place car of Will Power? He's on the blacks, the harder tyres.
Yeah, that's right. The reds are the softer ones. The blacks are a bit harder. So that means, you know, Will's actually doing a phenomenal job here, as Sebastian does take a look. But I'll tell you right now, Jeremy, based on how close these cars are running, Robert Doornbos is definitely holding this field up. The cars behind are faster. With the fast-flowing corners here at Portland, when you catch up to a guy, you do lose downforce, and it is tough to keep pace with them. So it's a tricky track to get by on. You got to make sure you're quick in the right places, and that's onto the two straightaways. So this queue behind him is forming up for a good race, but I think that Robert Doornbos is probably one of the slower cars in this train.
Will Power seems to be sliding around a bit there. That car was certainly sliding a little bit more than it was earlier on through that infield section there, the turn 4, 5, 6 section, and Sebastian Bourdais is right on his tail. There's no way you can pass into that very quick chicane, nor down here into turn 11. It's this corner here that Sebastian Bourdais has to get right, get a good run onto the straightaway. Maybe he can use that Cosworth power to pass and perhaps effect a pass down into turn 1. This time around, I don't think he's quite close enough. They can reach 175 miles an hour. Will Power very late on the brakes, and nothing Bourdais can do about it at this stage. He's just got to be patient, hasn't he, James?
Well, you know, he keeps getting close, and I think if he were to get onto that Cosworth power to pass, he'd have just that little bit more, which would make it enough to get by him, because he's so close to Will when he gets into the braking zone. And with the red sidewall tires, he's got a little bit more braking potential in that car. So you know, Sebastian still has, I think, what's he got? He's got 45 seconds left of his push to pass to Will Power's 33, so he has used it, but the last 2 times I've seen him get a decent run on Will, he's elected not to use it. So he's playing it a bit safe there. Like you say, he's got to be patient. He's still saving a bit of fuel, but I think he'd like to get by.
There is the second of the R Sports cars, Alex Tagliani. He's had a good start to the season. He's well up in the points chase after the first 3 races. He's in 4th right now, just 26 points behind the series leader Sebastian Bourdais. And I know that Alex was very disappointed yesterday, or actually on Friday. He felt he was held up by Bourdais in qualifying. Nothing was done about it. It was actually yesterday in the wet that he felt he had a really good lap going, perhaps good enough to get P1 yesterday, which would have been worth a championship point. Now, has Bourdais got to run into turn 4? No, he hasn't. Again, he has to tuck back into line. And Bourdais now, he must be beginning to get frustrated, mustn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that was never a move that was going to work. Into turn 4, it's a very quick section. There's not a lot of braking there, so unless you're properly alongside the guy, that's just not going to happen. Sebastian, you don't usually see him getting this racy. I mean, he'll try once or twice, and then he might be content to sit back and save fuel. But for whatever the reason, the motivation is, he really wants by that Team Australia car, and he is pushing for it.
Certainly his best opportunity, I would we think would come at the pits. Obviously, if he's behind a couple of cars, he should be able to save a bit of fuel. He's not punching the gap through the air that the guys in front of him are. The guy in front of him is the guy at the front of that train, Robert Dornbosch. And if he can just throttle back in there and save a little bit of fuel, maybe he can go in a lap or so longer. But as we heard Michael Cannon say on the radio to Robert Dornbosch, you keep your fuel strategy as you are right now. We're going to see what pans out, but generally speaking, if you can do a lap or two longer than the guys you are pursuing before a pit stop, then running an extra lap or two at full speed on these hot, particularly on the red sidewall tyres, that should be good enough to enable you to come out several seconds ahead and make that pass effectively in the pit lane. The
only thing that I can think of is the fact that Alex Tagliani is so close to Sebastian Bourdais right now that he just doesn't want to get past. He wants to get by Will to more protect his position rather than be attacked by Alex Tagliani and lose that position. So.
Justin Wilson, 17 laps now in the books. Paul Tracy, we believe, is coming into the pits in the early stages. This will be an early stop, but it's certainly, we think, within the pit window to be able to get to the end on 3 stops. Paul just not happy with the way his index car number 3 is handling. But look at this, Justin Wilson just way out in the lead. It's been a long, long time since we've been seeing anybody this dominant. Even Sebastian Bourdais doesn't generally pull out 14 seconds in 17 laps, James.
No, this is definitely an extraordinary performance, and it makes me question whether or not he actually is saving fuel, but he's got no reason not to. So if he is in fact saving fuel at this rate, it would be very, very tough for anybody to try and get ahead of Justin Wilson. On board now with Neil Johnny a little bit there. Oh, as PT leaves the pit lane.
Yeah, he's already made his pit stop there. He changed tyres. He's on the black sidewall tyres now, so fill it up with fuel and send him on his way. And if he can turn some quick laps now, you never know. That might certainly work in his favour, but he was a long way back. He was in 15th place, I think he was, before that pit stop, behind Ryan DeYell and ahead of Catherine Legg, Alex Figge, and that was about it. But he's got a lot of ground to make up as PT, and it's just not been the way he wanted to return to the series after that injury.
Yeah, I think more than anything that stop was just to try and get him out of traffic. He was running with some slower cars there. He's definitely got more pace in the PCM cars. And like I said, here in Portland, when you're running behind another car, the turbulent air just makes it so difficult for you to really unleash the potential of your car. So in order to get him some clean air, they made him pit a bit early. I saw a few raindrops on that camera lens in that last shot there, Jeremy. The weather obviously very, very shaky right now, and from what we've seen all weekend, even in conditions just like this, it could start raining at any moment.
Yeah, they've been talking about the possibility of showers this afternoon, so you don't know what's going to happen. Of course, if it were to rain right now, that would not be good for PT, who's got back out on the track. He is still on the lead lap, is Paul Tracy, but he's only, but there is the gap. You can see Paul Tracy turning into the festival curves, and here is our race leader, Justin Wilson, the CDW car number 9, the red and white car of the R Sport team. And Justin has been head and shoulders above everybody today. Last lap around, another very, very quick lap, 1 minute .774, the best lap so far, a 1 minute .202, so half a second slower than the best he had set in the early stages of this race. He set that best lap on lap 7. Here's a replay of that pit stop for Paul Tracy. You can see him coming into fuel. It doesn't take a lot of fuel, and it's going to take him almost as long as to change the tyres as it does to put the fuel in. And it's a good stop there by Forsyth Championship Racing.
Very clean. Everybody was on their marks, and he got away all right. So you can see now the gap between him and race leader Justin Wilson. So I expect him to fall back 1 lap down if Justin's able to catch up to him before his pit stop. But at the rate he's going, Paul Tracy's currently running laps that are marginally slower, about half a second slower than Justin Wilson.
Let's look at the race analysis for today. 1.964 mile racetrack. The race will be 1 hour and 45 minutes. Expecting 3 pit stops. First pit stop anywhere between lap 18 or 19 and 28 or 29. And then after that, about every 30 laps, 28, 29 laps. 29 laps we reckon is a regular fuel range. Use about almost a gallon a lap on this racetrack. Power to pass. Cosworth Power to Pass have 60 seconds worth of that. Last year, of course, this race was won by the car number 7 of AJ Allmendinger. In the ride this weekend is Oriol Servia, and Oriol has been been struggling a bit this weekend, but as James said a little while ago, he's much happier with the car after the warm-up this morning, in which he set the second fastest time. Here's another look here at Alex Tagliani diving down the inside of Sebastian Bourdais.
That was a fantastic pass. That was a replay of that pass. We obviously missed it when it first happened, but a fantastic pass from Alex Tagliani. You saw Sebastian Bourdais was looking at Will Power, maybe just hesitated on the brakes a bit to make sure he didn't get into the back of Will, and the last minute Tag just stabbed out there and pulled it off. Really well done.
Great opportunism there for Alex Tagliani. He saw his opportunity and he grasped it with both hands. No second bidding there for Tagliani. What a great pass that was. He will be thrilled with that. He was very disappointed with Bourdais yesterday after the qualifying session. He felt that Bourdais held him up when he was on a very, very quick lap, and at that stage in the wet qualifying session yesterday, Tagliani had already set the fastest time, and he had another good lap going when he was held up by Bourdais, and he was hot afterwards, was Tag, and the team really had to try and calm him down a bit. Well, now he's taken out his anger in the best possible way. He's made a textbook pass of the defending series champion.
Tagliani a bit hot? What are you talking about? How is that possible? No, he was probably doing the little "take that, brother" in his helmet. You know what Tagliani's like. And now he's tracking down Will Power. But that's exactly what Sebastian didn't want to happen. So everything kind of falling apart for Sebastian, but looking really good for the current leader's teammate, our sport teammate, Alex Tagliani.
Yeah, our sports have really made a tremendous amount of progress. They struggled a little bit in the first few races of the season. Of course, Justin Wilson did have a second row start. Michelle Geisner is down in the Walker Racing pit.
Yes, I'm here with Derek Walker. Derek, you used a lot of push to pass to put Will in the position that he's in. Was that part of your strategy?
No, it wasn't. Basically, we opt to go with black tyres, and obviously everybody else is on red, so everybody's pushing him real hard, and he's just being a little generous with that push to pass, a little earlier than we want, but, you know, he's doing a great job out there, so it's a long race.
Thanks a lot, Derek.
Yeah, of course, he had a problem with his power to pass button in the last race at Houston. Did Will Power? He was, they think he was just pushing the button unwittingly, effectively, on the straightaway. He comes out on the front straight. We're watching Justin Wilson, by the way, trying to get past Paul Tracy. We can't see it on screen, unfortunately. He's trying not to be held up by the almost lapped car of Paul Tracy is our race leader, Justin Wilson. But here, all the way back at the far end of that big, long main front straightaway, is this battle for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth place Graham Rahal. Here is just on board with Justin Wilson. You can see PT is still ahead of him, and as they came past our booth here, past the start-finish line, there were absolutely no to tell, and Justin was looking to the inside. So we'll have to have a look out next time around, see whether we can see any blue flags.
I have to say, this is more than half a lap, because I saw Justin on his power to pass. You can see him, his left thumb was on the radio button there. I guarantee you he's screaming over his radio, telling, "Get Paul out of my way." And you know what? Paul is not being a very sportsmanlike driver right now. He's going to go a lap down whether he likes it or not, and he's just holding up Justin Wilson right now. And very, very poor driving, I think, from Paul.
Yeah, Paul's turning his best laps of the race in the last couple of laps. 1 minute, 0.855 he did a couple of laps ago. And now we'll see here is...
Again, he doesn't let him go. Justin Wilson has now wasted, I say wasted because he's genuinely wasted 17 seconds of his power to pass on a back marker, on a lapped car. That is absolutely uncalled for on Paul Tracy's part.
Having said that, they're still lapping quicker than anybody else. Last time around, Paul Tracy's lap was a 1 minute 1.3. That is about exactly the same pace that Robert Dornbosch and Will Power and Alex Tagliani, Sebastian Bourdais, and Tristan Gomedy and Dan Clark and Graham Rahal are all doing in that big long train between second and eighth places. So there's no need for Justin to get frustrated here. Yes, he'd like to put PT a lap down. You always want to put PT a lap down, but there's no need to fret. He's got a huge lead. There's almost 18 seconds over the rest of the field, and the key now is to not get carried away.
I guarantee you that's not how he's thinking, though. I mean, as a driver at the front of the race, as we see Ryan Dial, I think, for the PCM team having his first scheduled pit stop. Justin, there's just no reason. I've been in both situations, actually, of where they are right now. And here we go, Justin Wilson finally, after 2 laps behind him, getting past Paul Tracy.
It's a bit of a gesture there, I fancy, from Justin Wilson. He turned into the corner, a little bit of a wave out of the left-hand side of the cockpit before he gets hard on, well, as he's hard on the brakes, it seemed. But he's now passed, and now he will put some daylight between himself and Paul Tracy. And that lap again, he used the power to pass to make that, to effect that pass. cars. He's down now to 32 seconds worth left. Is Justin Wilson out of the whole minute?
That is half of his allotted time wasted on a lap guy who shouldn't have even been racing him. I'm pretty appalled by that, to be honest.
And if there's a full course caution, that'll bring everybody back up onto the tail of Justin Wilson, and then that is when that lack of Cosworth power to pass will really tell.
Robert Doornbos, second place driver, has 60. He has all 60 seconds left of his power to pass. So, frankly, I mean, Chamco should look at penalizing Paul. He should have to do a drive-through for that. Just absolutely, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about it because I'm